little bit. All right. Hello. Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope your week has gone good. Here we are on Friday, the weekend, right? We've had rain pretty much most of the day here, which is it's okay. I mean, we've had a little bit of a dry spell, which is all right as well. I'm not ever going to complain about that, but gave me an opportunity to work on the road without it being a muddy mess. Right now, certain parts of the road are back to being a muddy mess. So it's all part of it. It's what we got to deal with. So there we go. But I hope everybody, like I said, I hope you guys have had a good week. Uh, Talking about, are you paying attention yet? Right? There's a lot going on, obviously, out there, a lot of things happening. But before we jump into anything, I just want to remind everybody that this is a very family friendly oriented channel. I would ask you all to please be decent in the chat. No racism, no nastiness. Just be kind to one another. That would be great. And if you cannot do that, those awesome people that you see lit up in blue with the wrenches are going to boot you out of here because we are not going to have that. All right. So, hey Janet, how you doing tonight? What was Wendy? I saw Wendy. Wendy's in here as well. Where's Wendy? I like that. That's funny. I hope everybody's, like I said again, week has gone well. A lot of craziness going on, and so I got to address the elephant in the room first. Obviously, oh my God, I'm so shocked that liberal New York City indicted Trump. Didn't see that coming. I mean, it's just I don't even. There are no words. There's no words. What kills me, and I can't say that there's a double standard, right? I can't say that there's a double standard because that would be actually giving an opinion, and YouTube doesn't always like that when you give an opinion. So they may claim that opinion is being false information. So we can't do that. But it would seem, if you look at things, there's possibly a double standard. And I'm not saying that there is, and I'm not saying that there's not. But it's interesting how certain people commit crimes that are backed by a certain party, seem to just do whatever they want to do. They get let out. They're on the streets again. And then people on the other side, uh, you know, they're looking to, go after them in every way, shape, or form that they possibly can. Uh, I think that it is hilarious when and I wanted to know. I'm curious how the left spun it when Tucker Carlson put out that thing about the QAnon shaman, showing him being led around by the police, walking around. There's 9 cops right there. Okay, 9 cops right there. So if he was such a huge threat, and this is just a question. This is a question. I'm not making any kind of statement of anything. I have a question. If this guy was such a terrible threat, an anarchist, uprising person, causing problems, why wouldn't they have arrested him right then and there? Does that make any kind of sense? I mean, I don't know. I find it very, very interesting. So, yeah, I heard he's been moved to a halfway house now. But how long has he been in jail? Pretty much from very early on. He was incarcerated way before the trial, way before he took the deal. And but that video that came out portrays things differently than what we were told. Right? That's all I'm saying. It makes you think, I guess is the right word. You look at that and you go, that's interesting, right? This isn't somebody that was. Well, I'm not going to say what he was doing. Now, let me just put it like this again. And I've said this before, guys. What happened with them going into the building? If you believe that it was a setup or anything, again, I'm not saying that it was, and I'm not saying that it wasn't. Okay, so I'm not putting that out there. What I'm saying is they should have never gone into there to begin with. I remember when that whole thing happened. And if you guys remember the guy that was sitting on Nancy Pelosi's desk, right, or sitting at her desk with his feet up on her desk. I remember when that whole thing went down and I saw that, I said, these guys are so screwed. They're so screwed. And I believe he did go to jail as well, if I'm not mistaken. You know, the reason, again, and I've said this before, I mean, like I said, and even if it's something that I agree with with a protest of whatever the case may be, you will never, ever, ever, ever see me at a protest. Won't be there, won't be involved in it because I'm not going to put myself in a position where I can be jammed up. That's what happens. If they decide, and who is they, right? The powers that be, whoever's in charge, whoever's calling the shots, if they decide, okay, we're going to go after this group or that group or whoever we're going after, whoever the perceived bad guy is, right? Um, I want to be nowhere near any of that when that happens because when the time comes, folks, realistically, and I do believe it's a matter of when, not if, as far as SHTF happens, it's not going to do you, your family, your friends any good if you're sitting in a jail cell. You're not going to be able to do any good. And then think about this when you get out of that jail cell, right? Finally, and they put you on a probationary period for years and years and years. It is one of the major banks in Australia has stopped allowing cash withdrawals. Really? I had not heard that, but thank you for that information. I will definitely have to check that out. Um, but again, it is the whole thing with that. Like I said again, you can't do anybody any good. Oh, and I was going to say, so put you on probation forever and ever and ever, and then you're very much watched, restricted. You're under their control. When you were on probation, okay. I don't know if anybody of you have ever been on probation before. I have. I will, I have been on probation before when I was younger, and they have total and complete control over you. You've got to check in with your probation officer, or if you've been to prison and you get out, then it's a parole officer, and a parole officer can come and do whatever they're going to do whenever they want to do it. And I've never had to deal with that, thank goodness. But it's a really really tough situation, and like I said again, it doesn't do you or your people any good to put yourself in that situation. So that's why you will never see me in that situation. I'm not putting it there. I love you, bro, and we are the same age. Hate to say it, but you already are putting yourself out. Okay, tube. I thank you. I appreciate that, and you're right. I am putting myself out there. I do make myself a target, and I understand that. I really truly do understand that. But I with this channel and putting myself out here, you have never ever once ever heard me say we need to overthrow the government, because you will never hear me say that, because I will never say that. Okay, I will never say. Do I think we need some changes? I absolutely do. Okay, I absolutely do think we need changes, but um, you know armed revolt is not, in my opinion, the answer. It's not going to do. It's not going to end well. For people that are trying to do that, and you would have to do something like that on a very large scale platform. So, but yeah, I realize I make myself a target being on here. Oh, and I do want to. I got to address something, guys. So in the last live stream, I was talking about this person that was Susan Lane, right? I was talking about Susan Lane. So um, previous to this, I'd been watching this person's comments. Something didn't add up. Something didn't add up. And my buddy Steve had said to me, he goes, "Hey, is your troll been on? Like I have this one individual, young man. It's got to be a teenager, in my opinion, just by the way he comments and in his actions, right?" And I said, "You know what? No, I haven't seen him on very much lately." Well, I was actually wrong, folks, and I will tell you why I was wrong. He was Susan Lane. Okay, he was Susan Lane, trying to get slick, trying to be cute. And I've been watching the comments, and something just wasn't adding up with this person. Well, when I said that I had blocked him, her, right? what happened was, I guess I hadn't, and they came in the next day with the same tired rhetoric that this troll does, right? And I'm like, okay, now I got you. And so that's I figured that out. And but they were pretty good for a little while there. You know, it wasn't horrible comments, but it was just like little digs. So yes, yes, they're blocked now. They are definitely blocked now. So yeah. Hey Philip, good evening. It's just I truly will never understand that. I truly will never understand it because I will tell you what, and I've said this before. Um, there are YouTubers out there that I don't care for. Okay, don't like them for whatever the case may be. You know, I don't care for them. But you will never ever hear me come on here, right, and talk about I don't like this one or I don't like that one or any of that type of stuff. I'm not going to do that. Yeah, their pronoun was troll. Exactly. Um, you're never going to see me do that. And here's the other thing: I will never go on their channel, watch their videos, and troll them or make negative comments. I don't do that crap either. It does no good. It doesn't serve any kind of purpose. So if I don't care for a channel, here's a weird kind of concept, right? As an adult, I don't watch it. I don't watch it. So I think that, you know, but this individual's a kid, guaranteed, 100%. They're a child, maybe 15, 16 years old is my guess. And, just by the way that they're talking. So, obviously they didn't get spanked enough by mommy and daddy, and mommy and daddy didn't teach them any respect. So, that's obviously very evident as well. So that you have to blame the parents for that, for the child's bad behavior. Always, until you become an adult, until you become an adult and make decisions for yourself, it is your parents' responsibility to guide you, to teach you, to show you what's right and what's wrong. And unfortunately, in this day and age, too many parents want to be their kid's friend. They want to be friends with their children. Well, you know what? When you're 14, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, you can't be their friend. When they become an adult, then your relationship with your child can change and you can have a different relationship. They're always going to be your child, but it's more of a mutual respect when they become older. But if you're teaching your children to be a turd, okay, and they become a turd, it is nobody's fault but yourself. So that's why I will always blame the parents, um, for that behavior. So spanking is now child abuse. I got my butt beat a lot, but I'm old. Oh, I got mine tanned up quite a bit as well. Got mine tanned up quite a bit as well. Didn't learn from it. No, I did. You know what? It. I'm a big believer in taking privileges away rather than physical thing. Because, and I'll tell you why. And when I say take privileges away, I'm not talking for weeks or months because that's counterproductive. To be honest with you, I believe so as well. But if now, what I would do, like I said with Eddie, here's the chores we got to do. We got to do. I don't want to do it. He'd have his little meltdowns and he'd flip out and he'd do all the stuff like that. I would say, oh, that's fine. You don't have to do it. And he'd think that he had won. I said, but until you do decide to do it, you've lost your privileges for the computer. So there'll be no computer time for you until you decide to help. Well, boy, I'll tell you what, change of attitude in a heartbeat, because that was his whole thing, was being on that laptop. Um, you know, with Heather, I was really lucky with Heather. Heather was easy. I only had to actually punish her one time, her whole growing up. I never had to spank her, right? And at one time she got in trouble because Eddie ratted on her. Eddie threw her under the bus. But I will tell you guys, I will never forget this. I will never forget this. Eddie came and told on her, and he had the biggest smile on his face. the biggest smile on. He was so happy that Heather finally got in trouble because he had said to me before that, well, how come Heather never gets punished? And I said, because Heather never does nothing wrong, So, but it just like I've told you guys a million times, there is no handbook when you become a parent. When you become a parent, there's no handbook that you go, okay, this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do. And if you don't have the guidance of you know adults around to give you that guidance, especially if you were younger, especially if you were younger when you had your children. I didn't have my kids till I was 36, guys. All right. I didn't have the twins till I was 36. So I was already an adult and mature and established in my career and knew what I wanted. And, they were very much wanted. But, it's still, you're shooting in the dark when it comes to raising kids. What's the right way? What's the wrong way? You got all these people telling you you should do this or you should do that. I personally found, and did I? Josh got spanked twice. I was in Josh's life from the time that he was from 5 until 16, and he got spanked twice. And both times he was probably about 6 or 7 years old, and both times it was because he was disrespecting his mother. That's why he got spanked. Other than that, I never had to spank Josh. Eddie got his butt beat a lot when he was younger. And I shouldn't say beat because my idea of a spanking, guys, I will tell you, there's 2 shots on the butt. That's my idea of a spanking. It's a get your attention type of thing. That didn't work with Eddie. It didn't work with Eddie. So I had to come up with what's going to work. And then I figured it out, and I said, okay, for him, his whole world is that laptop and that being able to be on the internet. And so I figured out, okay, that's his tool. That's my go-to to get him to do as he's told and, to do chores and to help out and stuff like that. Anybody that watches the old videos of us stacking wood, you would see Eddie taking one piece at a time and Heather loaded up like a pack mule, and then, I'm taking what I was taking. And, but that was Eddie. You know what I mean? As long as he was contributing and helping, that's all I cared about. And, and I was never going to ever, and I still to this day would never let him use his, autism as an excuse. Just because he has autism doesn't mean that you get treated completely differently than everybody else. It has nothing, no way. Other than the fact is you got to find again, what's the tool that works. So, but, my mother-in-law would undermine me and go against me. Yeah, that's not cool either. That's not cool. If you're a parent, you call the shots, and sometimes you have to hurt some feelings of other adults if they don't like the way that you're doing it. I'll tell you guys a real funny story real quick. So we were living in Charlotte, New York, and we had our house down there, and the kids were maybe 5, 6 years, no, probably 4 or 5 years old. And this is something that always killed me, but I will tell you the story first with this. So we had company over. Well, the kids' bedtime was 7 o'clock, 7 or 8. I can't, probably 7 because they were so young. So they needed to go to bed early because they needed their sleep and they needed to get their rest. And so we had company over that day. So we had people over and we're just sitting around talking. And I wasn't paying attention to the time. And the kids saw the clock. They saw that it was 7 o'clock, and they start packing up their stuff and they start heading, upstairs to go brush their teeth and do all that. And I remember my company going, what are they doing? And I looked and I went, oh, it's 7 o'clock. I said, you're going to have to excuse me for a minute. We got to go and, tuck the kids into bed and stuff like that. So we went and, got them, made sure their teeth were brushed and got their last drink. They went to the toilet, got them tucked in, kissed them goodnight. And that was it. Right. And I came back downstairs and they were like, they just go on their own. I said, that's all they know. That's the routine. That's what we do. They are the children. We are the adults. They don't set the rules. I've seen people that let their kids stay up to all hours of the night and, they won't go to bed for me. They will. They will. Okay. Routine. That's, but they were like shocked. I never forget where they were like, yeah, but they went on their own. I go, Yeah, because they know it's time. That's their routine. That's what they do. Kids crave structure. They crave structure, and they crave boundaries because it makes them feel safe. That I will tell you. That I will tell you. I've seen a lot through my years, and I see the way some parents raise their kids, and I just go, "Oh my goodness gracious," So that's just that's just how we did it, and and lo and behold, we got three grown up, squared away kids. Imagine that, that are not out there doing stupid stuff and acting like jerks. So my kids stay up late often, lol, but we homeschool and she gets to sleep in often because our schedule is just different. And that's it, to each their own how you want to do it. If I'm going to tell you what, both Eddie and both Heather are night people, just like Amy and I were night people. We were night folks. We were like, when they got older, obviously they didn't go to bed that early. They got to go to bed later. But when it was school, I think it was like 9 o'clock when they had school. If it was a weekend, they could stay up later once they got older. But yeah, it just like now, I mean, my kids are like me, going to bed at 1, 2 in the morning. That's normal. So, but and there's nights. I mean, last night? I think last night I went to bed at 5 in the morning. It's just sometimes I'm just awake. It happens. And there's nights if I'm really really tired, I'll be in bed by 11, and that's like ridiculously early for me. So, but yeah, it's like I said, but that's something totally different. Well, let's get back to what I want. We're talking about. Are you paying attention? Right. We already talked about a little bit about a possibility of a double standard within our own government. I'm not saying that there is, not saying that there's not. Just kind of speculating and looking at things, going, There's a lot of things that make you go, But you know, I think that it is a matter of time, and I'm gonna share some thoughts, okay, of what I think. And I'm not saying that this is carved in stone and this is going to happen and all this type of stuff. But you look at, and we're going to talk about some situations here. You look at China's aligned with Russia, okay, um, and you have Saudi Arabia and Iran have brokered a peace pact, sworn enemies, Shiite and Sunni Muslims. They hate each other, but China brokered a peace deal with them, right? They're also working with Brazil. Obviously, North Korea is in with them as well. And they're talking about, instead of trading oil in the dollar, which has been the standard for quite a while, and that's why we're as strong as we are, and that's why we're able to manipulate people the way that we do around the world. Because if you don't comply with what we want you to do, we'll put sanctions on you and make it very, very difficult for your country to be able to do what it needs to do. And that happens all the time. Or we will maybe behind the scenes topple a government or two. And I think the one that comes to mind would be Gaddafi in Libya. And there was some interesting things. So you had now, and this is, again, I'm not saying that this is the case. I'm not saying it's not the case. Okay, I'm just speculating and I'm thinking kind of out loud and sharing this with you. You had Libya and Iraq had both decided. Now I want you to think about this. They were going to go off the gold standard, or I mean, go off of the fiat dollar and go on the gold standard to trade their oil. Right? What happened to both of those countries? What happened to both of those countries? Both of those leaders are long gone. Both of those leaders are dead. Okay, there was Gaddafi was overthrown, and guess what? Both of those countries still trade oil based on the fiat dollar. I find that really fascinating. Now, I'm not saying that we had anything to do with that as far as Libya. Not saying that. I find it interesting, right? We know what happened in Iraq. We all know what happened there. Um, so destabilization of countries that don't go along, it's a possibility, right? So right now, what you have is you have China, Russia, Iran. Saudi Arabia, Brazil, North Korea. They're all talking about trading oil. And let's see what big oil producing countries. Saudi Arabia, right? Um, Iran. Interesting. So they're talking about using the yuan, which is the Chinese dollar, to trade behind that. What do you think will happen to the U.S. dollar, the value of the U.S. dollar, if they put that together and they do that? What do you think will happen to that value of American dollar? That's backed by, oh yeah, by the way, that's backed by nothing, not backed by a thing, right? Will we, the United States of America, allow that to happen? Or do you think there's a possibility, right, that we could end up in a conflict of some sort? Do you think that's a possibility? I'm not saying that it is, and I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just saying I want you to think about these things. Do you think that we could end up in some kind of a conflict with one or more of these countries because we cannot allow another country to be the major player and have the oil traded in their dollar and not our dollar? Think about that. Just think about that. I mean, I find that interesting, and it is you look what's going on right now. You look at the banking situation right now. Is that getting better? I just had somebody, I think it was actually JJ that sent me, and I think it was on Monday, that investors, and I'm not saying, I didn't verify this information, so I'm not saying this is fact. I'm just saying the information that he had shared with me. He had said that investors had pulled out $268 billion out of the banks on Monday. Now, like I said, I can't verify that is truth or not, but if that was the case, think about that. Think about that. Okay. Um, you know, there's all this talk. There's a lot of talk. And if you're paying attention to what's going on too, about going to a digital dollar, right? A lot of talk about going to a digital dollar. And they're trying to sell it to you that it's a great idea. And oh my goodness, this is a great, fantastic idea. I have a lot of problems with that. Okay. A lot of problems with that. For one, it is nobody's business how I spend my money. If I decide to use cash to buy something, I would rather do it that way. You look at a lot of times, okay, and right now, uh, go into Walmart and you want to check out fast, right? You don't want to deal with the line and waiting in line because they have, you know, two cashiers on or three cashiers on, and then all the self checkout things on. But a lot of those self checkout lines, all right, a lot of those self checkout lines are card only. They're no cash. They won't let you use cash. So there may be 8 stations available, and maybe one of them will accept cash. The other ones are all card. Well, people are so used to already. Okay, and this is what I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. This, but people are so used to it already. They don't even think anything of it. They just go do their thing. So they want to get in, they want to get out. Boom, they use their card, and stuff like that. So what happens with that, right? Now the grocery store, Walmart, Kroger's, Wegmans, Tops, Surefine, whatever one. You got your loyalty card too. Make sure you use your loyalty card and swipe that too, right? They have all your information. They know exactly what you bought, how you bought it, when you bought it, where you bought it. And all that information is tracked because they want to gear coupons and all that type of stuff to you to get you to buy the stuff that you like. They know that you like that, right? So that's what they're going to do. Yeah, it's in a database, exactly. So again, Prepper Nurse One shops at Kroger's every Thursday, generally around this time, right? So they know exactly where you are, when you're going to be there, when you're going to go shopping, and stuff like that. I don't want that type of stuff. And let me just tell you, I don't do that. Okay. We are creatures of habit. We truly are creatures of habit. So we get into routines. And you may not think that you do, but if you really look at a lot of times, let's say you work a 9 to 5 job, right? So you get up in the morning, you get the kids ready to go off to school, you head out to work. Maybe you stop at McDonald's on a regular basis because you like the McDonald's coffee, or you want a sausage egg McMuffin, or whatever the case may be, or you stop and get your latte, or whatever the case may be. But we end up in the same pattern. We do the same route every single day, and it ends up being very routine where we go. So we will leave the house. Yep, I think I'm going to McDonald's today. Now maybe you only go to McDonald's 2 to 3 times a week, but that's a pattern. Okay, that is a pattern. And but you generally take the same route. I remember way back, and I'll give you an example. Something that actually happened to me. I was working for a company. I was working in shipping and receiving. It was a tag and label company, and took the same route every single day without fail, not even thinking about it. Uh, this one particular day, I was very overtired. I got in my car, I went to work, and the next thing I know, I'm in the parking lot at work with zero recollection of the drive. None. I to this day I could not. Did I stop at the stop signs? My brain took over, went into autopilot, and got me to work, and I was completely zoned out the entire ride to work because I took the same route every day. So my body already knew where I went, how I went, where to stop, do all that type of stuff. And that actually happened to me. It scared the crap out of me because I got into the parking lot, put the car in park, and I went, holy crap, I don't remember any of the ride. So I literally was asleep at the wheel. Okay. Um, these things happen. These things happen. So we are creatures of habit. I like my routines. I'm not going to lie. I like to do the things that I like to do, and a lot of people do that. But again, if you do everything online, if you do everything online or like a digital currency, they will be able to know exactly how you spend your money, where you spend your money, where you were, all those type of stuff. Hey, Karen, my advice: pull out as much cash as you can afford and buy those items you would rather not be monitored purchasing in the future. Not bad advice. Not bad advice, Karen, and I agree with you 100%. Thank you very much for the donation as well. I do appreciate that. And yeah, that's really really good advice. If there's like, I'll give you an example of something. Okay, in New York, they outlawed, right, body armor. So the only people that are allowed to have body armor are law enforcement or people that are working in the security field, meaning like armored car guys, that do armored cars and stuff like that, or bodyguards or something like that. Those are the only folks that are allowed now in New York to have body armor because of one incident that happened in Buffalo where that young man had on body armor, where they had shot him, right? But he didn't get killed because he had on body armor. All the mass shootings, and I want you to think about this, all of these mass shootings, right? And I think he was only like the second one that actually had on body armor. But they outlawed Joe Average Citizen in New York from being able to buy body armor. Now, they had talked about it ahead of time, right? They talked about it ahead of time that they're going to do this, blah, 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 blah. So, you know what I did ahead of time? I went out and I bought my body armor. All right. Now, that's not in New York anymore. That's not there. Never will be again. But I find it ridiculous that the politicians who have armed security, right? They have guys with guns protecting them, but you, Joe Average Citizen, are not allowed to protect yourself. You're not allowed to put yourself in a situation where you can protect yourself. And yeah, do as I say, not as I do. Exactly. Exactly. And it's insane. It's absolutely insane. And that's been going on for a long time. It's been going on for a long time. Who are they, these politicians, to determine if you are allowed to keep yourself safe or not? Because guess what? I'm going to give you some little information here. The criminals, they're going to get body armor, and they don't care. They don't care what the laws are. They don't care what laws are put on the books. They're going to have the body armor on. They're going to do what they need to do. And you, who are not allowed to, if you get into a situation where they're doing something that they've planned, you know, thought out, prepared for, and stuff like that, there's not, you're not going to be able to do anything about it. You know, you're going to be putting yourself in a situation where you're going to be a victim. And that's just not cool to me. I mean, I remember that shootout. If you guys remember that shootout way back in California, I shouldn't say way back because it's really not that long ago. Those two guys that were robbing banks, and they had on all the body armor, right? And they ended up getting into a broad daylight shootout with the police, and they literally were standing there and shooting at the police, and several of the police got hit, and they were shot several times, but they had complete body armor on, so they were not, you know, able to, take these guys down. And what ended up happening was, the one was cornered, and I think he shot himself in the head and killed himself. And then the other guy, they ended up shooting him and getting him. I think they ended up shooting him in the feet first, and then he was shot a couple other times. And then North Hollywood, exactly. And then he bled out before an ambulance got there. But now, was that allowed to happen? Was he allowed to bleed out? Right? I remember watching that too. It was insane. It was insane. But they were well organized. They knew what they were doing, and they were drugged up too. Yes, absolutely, JJ. Yep, they were. They were. I think it was meth. I think that they were on, or something to that effect. So they were wired for sound. Um, I remember watching that on TV, going, "Holy crap!" Now I want you to think about this. Let's just again. I like scenarios. I like the. So you look at these two individuals, highly motivated, knew what they were doing, planned it out, and stuff like that. Do you think there might be maybe some groups in? Oh, was PCP, Mark? Okay, yeah, I don't remember what exactly it was, but you think there might be some groups out there that might not like you because you're an American, that may be just waiting to be told go and do these things, and they're organized, and there's several of them, and they're ready to go. You think there might be groups like that out there, you know? But yet you, Joe, average citizen, or Miss Citizen, either or. I'm not just trying to say men. I'm saying everybody. Um, you're not allowed to do this, and you're not allowed to do that, and the government is slowly, very slowly, taking away your rights to be able to defend and protect yourself. All right. I want you to think about that. Um, you know, uh, One of the things that I love about being down here in West Virginia, okay, what I absolutely truly love about being in West Virginia, it is an open and concealed carry state. If you see my videos, you see that I am armed. Wherever I go, I am armed. And, I do that because do I think that I'm a tough guy? No, that's not why I do it. I do it because there's so many crazy people out there, and it keeps happening. These things keep happening. If I am ever in a situation, I don't want to be standing there with nothing but you know what in my hand. Okay. I want to be able to not only protect myself. Now, I don't wear body armor in public. I will tell you that right now. Okay. I don't wear body armor in public. But, you know, uh, but I want to be able to not only protect myself, but to protect innocent people around me. Because if an individual started going on some kind of spree or doing something like that, I'm not running. Okay. I'm going to engage. That's what I plan on doing. Now, if you are for or against guns, I could give a crap less. You know, you go ahead and run and hide. I'm not running and hiding. That's just where I'm at. Does that make me tough guy? No, it has nothing to do with that. It's self-preservation. Self-preservation. Think about that shooting that happened in Minnesota. If you guys remember in the mall. Remember in the mall that the guy came out of the bathroom, started shooting, and I think he was 23-year-old kid, pulled out his pistol, legally allowed to have his pistol, and he took that perpetrator down, right? So there is an example of a good guy with a gun ending a bad situation by a bad guy with a gun. Again, I've said this before, and I'm going to say this again. You have seconds to react in a situation like that when the police are minutes away. I want you to think about that. You have seconds to react when help is minutes away. Because there's not cops all over the place right there. They're not all over the place right there. Now, in a lot of the malls, there are security. There may be some police, but how many people could a bad dude shoot in the time period before the cops got there if somebody's not there to do something about it? And that really wasn't played up very much in the papers because, of course, that doesn't fit the agenda. I saw an article or a comment by somebody recently, and I always have to laugh at this. It's just so this person was talking about the latest shooting, and they were like, oh, everybody's up in arms, and about this person, and they're because the person's transgender and blah 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 blah, right? When all these other shootings are done by white males, right? That's total crap. Total crap. Now, have there been a lot of shootings done by white males? Absolutely, yes, there has. But guess what? There's also been a lot of shootings done by blacks, Hispanics, Asians. There's several examples recently of other people going out there and doing that. We got to get away from they were this color, they were that, they were the other thing, they were this, they were that, they're transgender, they're straight, they're whatever the case may be. Okay, whatever the case may be. It's not about what color somebody is. It's not about, you know, if they're transgender or straight or bisexual or lesbian or homosexual. It ain't got nothing to do with it. Mental illness, I'm just going to say this so you understand. Mental illness is mental illness. It doesn't come with, okay, well, here's what this crazy person is going to be and what they're going to look like, and this is what they're going to do. You don't know. That's the thing. When these folks have these agendas and they want to do these things and they want their revenge or whatever the case may be, they're going to do what they're going to do, especially if they're really secretive about it and they have a game plan and all that type of stuff. So, you know, give a man a gun and he will rob a bank. Give a man a bank and he will rob everyone. Oh my God, that's funny, JJ. Um, again, I'm a big believer that we need to be able to protect ourselves. I really am. There is things are getting crazy. I honestly believe that there's something that's going to happen. Another shoe's going to drop at some point, somewhere, somehow, and you're going to need to be able to not only defend yourself, but defend the people that you care about. Defend the things that you have. Because I'm going to tell you guys, and I've said this before, 93% of the people in this country are not prepared for a 2 week disaster. Oh, Hella's on her bed right now. She's on her bed. Um, 93% of the people are not prepared for a 2 week disaster. So, what that means, those of us that are prepared and are ready, we're going to have stuff other people are not going to have within sight of a couple of weeks. So, you're going to have a lot of victims out there that are going to feel entitled. Why should you have that and I don't? That's not fair, right? Because they didn't take the time to prepare. Is that my fault or your fault that they didn't, when we as preppers, as off gridders, have been telling people, right? We've been telling people for how long? You need to get ready. You need to prepare. You need to do these things. You need to, get ready as much as you possibly can. Um, but, people don't. And then they're going to be pissed when something goes on and you're ready and you're able to do what you need to do to take care of your family and stuff like that, and they didn't. They're not going to be happy about that. They're not going to be. And that happens. You're going to see it. So, again, we need to be able, and it's, I just want you to remember something too, okay, guys? It's not just about beans, bullets, and band aids. You need medical supplies. You need food. You also need, weapons to be able to protect what you have. That's important. Okay. But there's also, you need seeds, gardening tools. You need to know how to grow crops. You need to be able to have supplies on hand to build. Think about this. We have our group that comes down here once a month. Everybody knows that. We've talked about that. You've seen the videos of people here and stuff like that. And we're building, right? We're getting ready for things. If SHTF happens tomorrow and all my people come here, we're going to have a crisis of where are we putting everybody? All right. We're going to have a crisis of where are we putting everybody? So, what do you think we'll be doing on a large scale pretty quickly? We're going to be building. And to be able to build, you're going to need chainsaws. You're going to need extra chains. You're going to need extra bars. You're going to need to have the mix to be able to run the chainsaw. And this is just one example. We're talking one tool, right? One tool. You're going to need to be able to have the sharpener because it's not like you can take the chain back out to somebody else to go get it sharpened. You need to be able to know how to do that yourself. You need to have plenty of gasoline to be able to run that chainsaw because that's going to be a tool that is going to be huge early on in an SHTF. Now, will eventually you run out of gasoline? Will you run out of bar and chain oil? Will you, wear those teeth down? Yeah, eventually you're going to. So what else should you have? You need to have hand saws and those type of things. There's so much that goes into it. You need to have gardening tools. You know what I mean? You need to have nails and screws, hammers, saws. Electric chainsaw is great if you have a power source, Village Homestead. If you don't have a power source, that electric chainsaw is going to be worthless pretty quickly. Okay, so that's just reality. It's just reality. So, but that's just one example of what you need to be preparing. I mean, and so now spread that out and think about everything that you use on a daily basis. How much toothpaste do you got back? How many toothbrushes do you have back? Do you have mouthwash that you like to use? Hey, Hunter Guy, there are 115,000 schools in the U.S., K through 12, and private schools, plus adult education, career teacher schools. The U.S. Can easily afford to have two armed officers at each school in America, paying them 60,000 each. Yeah, they could. They absolutely could, and that should be a priority. Is keeping our kids safe. And I agree with you 100%. Um, we got money for everything else, right? For other countries, billions, in fact, to other countries. Thank you very much for the statement, and thank you very much for the donation as well. I do appreciate that. Egg count time. Yes, I'm sorry, JJ, you are correct. I looked at 42 when it was at 42, and I said, okay, I got 3 minutes, and now it's 47. So that's kind of what happens. All right, egg count time. How many eggs today, and yes or no for Miss Thickneck? So I'll give you guys a moment to get your guesses in, and we will go from there. If you have not shot a thumbs up yet, too, I would ask you to please do so to show support for the channel, and I do appreciate that ahead of time. Really does make a huge difference with the algorithms, and thank you very much for that. And also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. Your chickens are famous at, yeah, they're good chickens. I miss my chickens. It's funny. It's like I miss the chaos of having the other dogs here, with me. I miss the chaos of the cats. I miss the chaos of the chickens. All those, I miss all those things. And but it's I'm doing what I feel I have to do. Um, some of you might understand that, some might not. Um, if people have asked, well, where's Caesar and Pandora? They're still in New York. They're still with Heather. And they're there to protect her. So, all right, if you had the same exact guess, like the second guess that was put up there, Dale in Ohio. If you had the same guess as Dale in Ohio with 7 eggs today, and yes for Miss Thickneck, then you are 100% correct. When will you get chickens in West Virginia? Will you have the egg count, 2 egg counts, or one combined total? Okie Forge, good question. I do eventually plan on having chickens down here. There's other projects right now that have a higher priority that need to get done. But I would, and so I eventually will have chickens down here. Got to build a chicken coop and all that good stuff first. But we would have two egg counts. We would have the New York, and we would have the egg count down here for how many eggs we had down here. So that's that would be good. But yeah, so Hunter guy is saying 55,000 a year plus 5,000 in benefits. That would be about 7 billion a year, pennies compared to our budget. And if it's saving children's lives, okay, if it's saving children's lives, um, okay. Randy Romines is saying they had it up first. Let me go back up here and I will take a look. Let me see. Nope, Randy Romines, you were fourth. Dale from Ohio was the second comment, and he had it first. So you were the fourth comment, and you had seven and yes as well. So no, but Dale in Ohio, because I checked, I made sure. Um, Dale in Ohio was first, not on my screen. Well, on my screen is the one that counts. Randy Romines, don't be trying to throw poor Dale under the bus. On my screen, Dale was first. That's just what I'm gonna. I just letting you know. Um, but yeah, it's what comes up first on my screen. Yeah, exactly. That's what I saw first. You were fourth, the fourth comment. So, but I double checked for you to make sure. But I knew I was what I saw was what I saw. Um, yeah, Randy wants a chicken dinner. Right, winner, winner, chicken dinner. But no, I definitely will eventually have two egg counts, New York egg count and down here egg count. That's obviously going to take some time to get that going. I got to get a chicken coop built before, and I want to make sure it's secure. And have an area around the chicken coop where I can let Hella in there, and she can run around because it's going to get her smell and stuff in there, which is going to help. It's going to help with you know um, protecting the chickens because they're going to smell her smell. And I know that in New York that we have not lost a chicken to a predator in New York in what, how many years? 4 years we've had chickens up there now, something like that. 4 or 5. And we let not one chicken to a predator. We've lost 3 chickens to the dogs because the chickens got out of the run, and the dogs went, "Hey, look at that chicken dinner," and dogs do what they're going to do. But they're out in their territory. So that's when I ended up making the fence that much higher, if you guys remember, in New York, so that the chickens did not get out of there. And after we did that, we never lost another chicken. So, we didn't have a skunk in the run. No, what we had in the run, and if it was a not a raccoon, it was a porcupine. It was a porcupine because Heather was taking it. It was nighttime. So we had the run area for the chickens. That door was shut. Then we had the run area for the dogs. That door was open, and a porcupine got into that part. Didn't get into the chicken run, but it got into that other part. And Heather had taken the dogs out to, put them out so they could go to the bathroom. She said she saw something. She didn't know exactly what it was, and so she got the dogs before they saw it, and thank goodness because it would have torn the dogs up. Got the dogs back in the house, and then she said, "I think that there's a porcupine out there." So I go out there and I look, and sure enough, there was a porcupine. So I had the shotgun. I'd given the shotgun to Heather, and I had a broom because I didn't want to kill, the porcupine if I didn't have to. And so what I was able to do with the broom is shoo it the way that I needed it to go back out of the dog run. And it got out and it went back off into the woods and it was safe and I was happy about that. I didn't want to, I didn't want to have to kill it if I didn't have to. I'm not going to kill anything if I don't have to. That's just my thing. I get, like I said, I get zero pleasure out of putting an animal down or killing an animal if I don't have to. Now, if I have to do it, I will do it. Done it before, we'll probably do it again. Just being honest. I will tell you this for sure. If I ever have to put an animal down again, I will not talk about it on YouTube. You will not hear about it on YouTube. That is a fact. I've learned my lesson that people are a-holes. So, yeah. Oh, that's too funny. But anyway, we need to be aware. We need to be paying attention. Uh, yeah, I know, JJ. You know what? You live and you learn, my friend. And like I said, I learned my lesson. Learned two very valuable lessons that day. Two very valuable lessons. One, certain things need not be shared on YouTube. That was number one. And the second lesson that I learned that day was never talk to the police, no matter what. You don't need to explain yourself to them. If they're going to investigate, you let them investigate all day long, but not on your property. So there you go. That's just kind of where I'm at with that. So that'll never happen again. You say two things to the police. If you are arresting me, arrest me, and I want to talk to a lawyer, or get off my property. Period. End of story. I need a shirt that says people are a-holes. Yeah, it would say more than that. uh, yeah, that's the joy of being on YouTube. Putting yourself out there, and you put yourself under people's. Everybody's got a judgment. Everybody's got a preconceived thing. They think that they know you when they don't know you, as far as certain aspects go. But it. Yeah, stupid should hurt. Yeah, it should. It would be nice. My cousin is a lawyer, and she says never ever talk. Always lawyer up. Exactly. Yep. So that would be my biggest advice. If you don't take nothing else away from this channel, and the police say, we'd like. What shirt am I wearing tonight? I have on my Indian shirt. I love this shirt. I think it's like the coolest thing, and so that's what I have on this evening. Um, so anyway, yeah. How about the more I'm around people, the more I like my dog. I can tell you what, that dog is as loyal as the day is long. I can talk to her all day, and she don't care. As long as I give her attention and I give her love, she's happy, and that's a good thing. And she will never not have my back. So, but yeah, no, no more chatting with the cops. None, no more ever again. Not ever going to happen. So, you know, that like I said, that was a valuable lesson to learn. And so, anyhow, that's neither here nor there. But rich people are moving to Mexico. Well, a lot of people are getting out of place. See, this is one of the things that always kills me. Okay, now obviously I am very conservative leaning. Not gonna lie, that's just being honest. Now I do have some liberal thoughts. I kind of consider it myself as more of an independent. Than on this side of the aisle or that side of the aisle because I think that they're realistically, two feathers of the same bird. Two wings of the same bird. So just with minor differences. But you know, what I never could understand. So things are like California or New York. Use either one. All right. Taxes are too high. The politics suck. Terrible gun laws. Like New York weather is crap. So libertarian. Exactly, Don Hill. Exactly. Um, so you move. You go to a state that's more gun friendly. That's more whatever the case may be. Well, a lot of these liberal minded people move to these new states and they vote the same way they did when they were in California, which that to me is insanity. You didn't like it. That's why you left because you voted in these politicians that put in these rules that you don't like now all of a sudden, or high taxes and all this and that. And so you move someplace else and you vote the same way you did before. Does that make any kind of sense? It's insanity. That's what's happening in Arizona right now. Oh yeah, there are a lot of Californians are moving to Arizona. They're moving to Texas. Yep. Ed, are you close to the suburbs? I'm wondering how far I should be from the suburbs. 20 minutes? I would be, no, I'm not close to the suburbs at all, Hunter guy. Not at all. Yeah. There. Well, the beautiful thing, too, and I will tell you this like, people have asked me, why West Virginia? Okay. Why West Virginia? I still have the four seasons down here in West Virginia. I don't mind winter. I just don't like winter to be 6 months long. That's why I don't like New York. Okay, weather-wise, that's just one reason why. What I like about West Virginia, very sparsely populated. It's not a very populous state. There's not a ton of people down here. Okay, once you get out of, and even they don't really have any major cities realistically. Okay, well, you got Morgantown, which is a college town. That's not huge, right? So once you get out just a 30, 40 minutes away from those areas, it's very, very rural, very, very rural. And it's a different mindset for people once you get further away. What you got to understand, and I've kind of talked about this before, and I just want to touch on this for Hunter Guy, and we're going to do shout outs here in just a minute. The city people are not going 30, 40, 50 miles after SHTF happens. They're going to stay close to what's familiar. When the gas is running out and stuff like that, they may go in a 20-mile circumference looking for supplies, looking for those type of things. You know what I mean? And, you know, but beyond that, when they get out further out into more countrified areas, they're not going to go there because they're not going to be comfortable, number one. The people that are out there are not going to be open arms welcoming, city folk, if you will, into those areas after a true SHTF event. So that's something else you need to think about as well. So the further away that you can put yourself, the better off you'll be. Like when I moved out of Greece, New York, the joke was I moved an hour south of Rochester. Okay, it was an hour south of Rochester, and the joke was I always said I was going to go south. I just didn't realize it was only going to be an hour south, but it was away from Rochester and that metropolitan area and that high population density area to more of a small town area. And I wasn't in the town, obviously. We were out in the hills in the country. So even at small town, what they'll do in a true SHTF event, they're going to circle the fences, folks. Small towns are going to band together. They're not going to let strangers in. And so you're going to see that type of thing happen. So let me get my pamphlet. We're going to go ahead and do some shout outs because it is that time, past that time, of course. I don't think I normally ever do it on time anyway, but that happens. All right, first of all, we're going to go with Icky Can up in Canada. Definitely go up and show him some support. Follow his journey. You have Angry Prepper, who is Jason down in New York City. There is Alaska Prepper, who is Rudy, obviously in Alaska, since he is Alaska, right? Alaska Granny's up there as well. You have Sean James with the Sean James channel and My Self Reliance, two different channels, same guy, doing his thing up in Canada, building up there, and really, it's really, really cool to see. You have Demcat. I like Demcat as well. There is Corporal's Corner. You have Bjorn Hansen, 80K Man, who is up in the Adirondacks. You have Bizarriza Jizza, who does the Carrington Chronicles. Really interesting story to follow, so definitely check him out as well. You have Marfugal News, which is Adam and Dax out on the West Coast. Really like them a lot. They're good guys. You have Magic Prepper, who is in North Dakota. There is Wranglestar. That's Cody. Really good guy. Great channel. A lot of good information on his channel. You have the Red Poppy Ranch. There's Survival Lily. You have Kyle's Cabin, which is Kyle and Sierra doing their thing out there in Minnesota. You have Bush Radical and Girl in the Woods, husband-wife team. Two different channels, but they split their time between Michigan and up in Alaska. You have Green Greg's. There is Southern Prepper 1. You have Gray Man Prepping. St. Bernard Acres with Joe. There is Doug and Stacy. Doug and Stacy's obviously been around for a while as well. Definitely go show them some support. The Nomadic Movement, who is down in Panama, nice young couple down there, just had a little girl, and they got a really good channel down there. You have the Green Dream Project out in Arizona. I like them as well. If you're interested in trying to figure out how to do things in the desert, that would be the channel to watch. Camping with Steve Wallace. He does stealth camping. Fun to watch what he does and how he does it. You have Bush Doctor Survival. There is Monkey Works. You have the Needy Homesteader. She's been around for a long time. Real good channel there as well. Boss of the Swamp, who's also been around for a while. Good channel as well. You have Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project. Love Diamond. Very, very smart guy. Definitely check him out as well. You have Patera with the Appalachian Homestead. There is City Prepper. You have Lumina Acres. There is Suspicious Observer. There is Bear Independent. The Uneducated Economist. You have Bushcraft Bear, who's in the Canary Islands of La Palma. There is Mary Greeley News, who does all the updates for Yellowstone, the earthquakes, what's going on that way. Definitely check her out as well. Good channel. Adapt 2030. You have Malachi's Corner. There is Ice Age Farmer. If you're going to get your weather, there's only one guy you should get your weather from, and that is Ryan Hall Y'all. Ryan Hall's a great guy, gives a ton back, really helps people out. He ended up collecting over $100,000 to help the people in Mississippi, which I think is awesome. Um, there is, where was I? Okay, Russell Brand. Russell Brand is a good channel as well. I like his channel. He makes people think, and I think that is important. He gives you the information, and he lets you determine what you think. And I think, like I said, I think that that's really, really important. Deep South Homestead. You have the Outsider. There is the Fit Farmer. There is Prep Rebel. If I could speak, that would be great. Simple Life Reclaimed. There is Townsend's. You have the Prepared Mind, formerly of California, no longer there. I wonder why. Pinball Preparedness, who is down in Tennessee, another really good channel. East Tennessee Preparedness. You have the Economic Ninja. And last but not least, there is Little House Off Gritty, another good channel as well, also in Tennessee. Uh, we need to support each other. There's a lot of good information out there. People look at things differently. I think it's important that we look at it that way and see what other channels are doing. You know, different parts of the country, people are going to have a different perspective of things. And so, depending on where you are and what you want to do and what you want to accomplish, it's a good thing. So, I think like I said again, I think it's really important that we are supporting each other. So that's why I do the shout outs. And I'm sure there's other bunch of other channels on here that people have put in the chat, and that's fine too. We all have our favorites. We all have channels that we like better than others, and so I think it's kind of interesting to watch different. Like I said, I like to watch different channels and see different things, and see what other people are doing as well. So get some good ideas that way, right? So anyway, uh, yeah, there's right now too. Let's talk about that a second. There's a lot of tornadoes happening right now. The weather's a lot of severe weather, a lot of crazy stuff going on, and you know, pay attention weather-wise what's going on around you too, because that's going to be a factor. It's going to make a difference. How ready you are, where you're at, what you're going to do, how you're going to take care of it, and just be aware. Again, continue to prep, folks. Continue to get ready if you can. And not everybody can do it, but I would highly recommend if you are in a higher elevation. Obviously, if you're in Louisiana or if you are in Florida, it's not feasible. But if you are not in those areas and you can do an underground bunker, I would highly recommend that you do so, because if there is a tornado or any of those type of things, and you have supplies underground and you have sleeping quarters underground and you're able to you know uh, be there and have that ready to go, it's going to give you a huge advantage, huge advantage. So I have seen some of the houses destroyed by them. I feel so sad for the people. I couldn't even imagine, you know, what it has to be like to have your home and your dreams, and you've built this home, and did it in your own way, and you had it 15, 20 years, and then a hurricane come through, or a tornado, either or, excuse me, and everything gets destroyed. I mean, it's just got to be heartbreaking. It's got to be heartbreaking. So, yeah, whole town's wiped out and trash all over the place. Exactly. Really sad. Really, really sad. And again, to me, yeah, baseball size hail in some places. Yep, that could kill someone. Absolutely. All by itself, it could. Absolutely. So, being as prepared as you can be is probably the smartest thing that you can do. A few years ago, a storm shelter only cost about 2,500 installed. Yeah, it's definitely much more expensive now. Much, much more expensive now. I think it, if you can, depending again on your location and where you are, I think that it's important to have something underground. Again, if there was a nuclear attack, right? Um, think about that. If there was a nuclear attack, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? And those are things, again, if you have something underground, it may not be perfect, it may not be the end all be all, but it's going to put you in a better position to be able to withstand whatever is going to happen. And having those supplies, um, you know having those supplies ready to go, that's a good thing. So that's just my advice. You can do whatever you want to do, as far as that goes. All right, so let's do this. We are Legion. We are many. We are all over the world. We're all over the country. Where is everybody from tonight? So we have Franklin County, Ohio, Nowhere, Oklahoma with Okie Forge, Ulster Park, New York, Central Iowa with Robert, Inverness, Florida with Clyde in the house, Waterloo, New York. We have Pennsylvania with Freehawk. There is Philip from Melbourne, Australia is in the house. Janet Humphreys up in BC, Canada. West Central Florida with Kit. California with Reaper. Marietta, Georgia with Jan. Fort Worth, Texas with Sonia. Southwest Ohio with Barbara. Morning Light in West Virginia. Lansing, Michigan. Missouri and the Ozarks with Delbert. Trenton, Florida. Crofton, Illinois. BC, Canada with Gypsy Mama. We have Leesburg, Florida with Joan. Marion, Wyoming. Carlise in the UK with Ann. Glad to have you here, Ann. Glad you stayed up with us. Houston, Texas with Prepper Patty. Madison, wait a minute, Michigan? No, where's that? I'm not sure, Patty. Or Heidi. I'm not sure where MN is. What's MN, guys? I'm like blanking out here. Greenlee County, Arizona. We have the UP of Michigan with Dawn. Finleyville, Pennsylvania with Susie. Dayton, Ohio. Western New York. Troutman, North Carolina with Troy. Hudson Valley, New York. We have Scott County, Virginia. Pipestem, West Virginia with Troy. We have Alabama's in the house. Roll Tide, Bass Daddy. Southern Oregon with Bonnie. Verone Hill, Illinois. Southern California. Certo Woodley, Washington. Central New York. Uh, MN is Minnesota. Okay, Heidi, thank you. I was drawing a blank. We have Scotland in the house in the UK. Very nice. With Kat. Appreciate you being here and staying up late. West Central Ohio. We have Oregon is in the house. Okay, I got it now. Minnesota. I got it, guys. Thanks. Now everybody's putting it up there now. They already told me. No, I do appreciate that, though. New York transplanted to North Carolina. Nothing wrong with that, K Brand. West Kentucky. I was down in North Carolina for a while too. I loved it down there. Let's see. Sean the Englishman from Chatham, Ontario, Canada. Very nice, Sean. Glad to have you here as well. But Yeah, guys, we are truly all over the country. We're all over the world. Hendersonville, North Carolina, with Judy. I know exactly where that area is, but we're a huge network. We really, truly are. We're all over the world. We're all over the country. We're a huge family, huge family. So we're the ones that can make a difference now. We can truly make a difference after SHTF because we will be the teachers. We will be teaching people how to survive, how to help themselves. I think that that is important. Oh, Troy, thank you for becoming a moderate prepper. I appreciate the support. I do appreciate that. Yeah, anybody that is a member of the channel as well, I just want to thank all you guys for doing so. It's really appreciated. It really helps. Like I said, any money that I get from the channel, it goes back into the homestead anyway. Whatever I am doing here, that's where anything I make goes. So we have Rock Hill, South Carolina. Very nice. Just below Charlotte. I know exactly where you are. Been down in that area. Yep. The whole area is just gorgeous down there. But anyway, guys, what do we got? Love what you do, man. Keep it up. Thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. I just want to try to help people. That's more my goal than anything else. If I can wake you up so that you are not a victim, that you are proactive, that you're helping yourself, that's one less person that I got to worry about being a victim when the time comes. And if you're proactive and you're doing the best that you can, even if you have a small amount done, it's better than nothing. And that's what I try to tell people. That's why I did the series with prep. I did it 11 weeks. I think I may end that series. I don't think I'm going to be doing any more videos on that. It gives people an idea of, for a very little bit of money per week, what you can put away, what you can accomplish, and it is, it's really not that hard. It's not that hard. So, um, but I think I made my point with when people say, "Oh, I can't prep, I can't do this, I can't do that." For $10 a week, I put together a pretty decent amount of food in a short period of time, 11 weeks, and it's quite a bit of food. And if you keep that up and did that for 6 months or a year, it ends up being a lot of food. So you should do a homestead recommended items list one night. Oh, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea at all. But anyway, guys, I want to thank my moderators who do an absolutely fantastic job keeping the chat clean. They do a great job of that, and it's very much appreciated. I can't try to answer questions and talk about whatever I'm talking about. I am easily distracted, as we all know, right? Oh, look, it's shiny. Not good at trying to multitask, doing many different things. So I do appreciate my moderators coming in, taking care of what they do every time, and it means a lot to me. I want to thank all you guys for being here because without all you guys here, I would not be here either. So I do appreciate that support. And it's a lot of fun. I do enjoy these chats, and hopefully we're all learning something that would be good. And we need to pay attention. There's a lot of distractions. The whole thing right now with Trump is a distraction, guys. Pay attention to what else is going on. That's a non-sequential. Do you honestly think Trump's going to go to jail? Honestly, do you think he's going to go to jail because some liberal prosecutor in New York wants him to go to jail? I would be, let's put it like this. I'm not saying that he's going to go to jail. I'm not saying he's not going to go to jail. I will just say this. I would be very surprised if he does 1 day of time. That's what I would be surprised at. What are they going to do? Have the Secret Service in a jail cell with him, keeping him safe and protecting him? It's just, you know, why are they so afraid of him being reelected? I wonder. That's just a curiosity I have. Just a curiosity I have. So, what are they so afraid of? Right? So, anyway, guys, um, remember, we truly are all in this together. We are one race called the human race. As soon as we can figure that out, we will truly be in much, much better shape. We really, truly will be. We have to stop letting them divide us. We have to stop letting them divide us. We have to come together. We have to work together. Okay. Also, remember to hug and kiss the ones that you love. Tell them every single day, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen in life. So it's really important that we tell the people that we care about every day how we feel. Last but not least, STD, step, thing, and day. One step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Whatever you are trying to do, whatever you are trying to accomplish, you can do it. The only person that's going to stop you from achieving your goals is you. That's it, nobody else. Stay positive, stay away from the negativity, set realistic goals, and then set about to making them happen. And it's as simple as that. It really, really, truly is. All right. I hope you guys are having a great day. I will talk to you all later. Be safe. Keep prepping. Keep getting ready. All right. Prepper Nurse One out for now.